Ma'am has joined.
Good evening, Monica ma'am.
Good evening, Aditi. Good evening, everyone. Good evening,
Good
ma'am.
evening, ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am.
Ma'am, shall we start?
We can start.
Good evening, everyone. Research consists in seeing what everyone else has seen, but thinking no one has else thought. Research and innovation are the backbone of any nation and key contributors to growth and development. They unlock the door to future augmentation. Research and innovation contribute directly to prosperity and the well-being of its citizens and society. I welcome everyone in the valedictory session of today's management conference. We are honored with the gracious presence of Dr. Rajesh Kothari as our chief guest in the valedictory session of one-day management conference, Management Innovations, Opportunities and Challenges for Sustainable Development at Sri Vaishnav School of Management, Sri Vaishnav Vidyapit Vishwavidyalaya. We are also honored with the presence of all the directors, head of the constituent institutions, head of the departments, faculty members, delegates, research scholars and students. May I now request conference convener Dr. Santosh Dhar for the virtual floral welcome of our chief guest Dr. Rajesh Kothari. Thank you, ma'am. It is our great privilege to have such a distinguished group of academicians, intellectuals, and research scholars in this one-day management conference. To know more, I invite Dr. Rishu Roy, conference coordinator, to present a report of the conference. Over to you, ma'am. Ma'am, unmute yourself.
I, Dr. Rishu Roy, on behalf of SVSM and as conference coordinator, is now presenting the report for Navprabandhan-2021-22. It was a one-day virtual national management conference on the theme Management Innovations, Opportunities and Challenges for Sustainable Development. The objective of the conference was to provide a platform to the participants from both industry and academia to discuss about various management practices and strategies which can promote the climate of sustainable development and innovation. The inaugural was followed by a plenary session and 3 concurrent sessions, that is, in first one was finance and IT, second marketing and HR was concluded. The conference was inaugurated with auspicious lamp lighting and welcome of our honorable chief guest, Mr. Rajan Datta. Souvenir Navansh was also released. Dr. Santosh Dhar, conference convener and Dean FDSR, gave introduction to the conference and highlighted the concept of sustainable development. She elaborated that complex innovation strategies for sustainable development is the need of the hour. She also highlighted about various radical business practices which has both risk and opportunities. Our Honorable Chancellor, Sri Purushottam Das Ji Pasari, also graced the occasion and congratulated the team of Navprabandhan for choosing such a relevant topic. Dr. Rupinder Dhar, the conference patron and VC Sri Vaishnav Vidyapit Vishwavidyalaya, in his welcome speech emphasized on the concept of innovation management. Innovation management in the organization is crucial for bringing innovation. He elaborated that 4 pillars, that is competency, structure, culture, and strategy for sustainable development and innovation is crucial. For bringing innovation in an organization, it is basically a 4-step process which starts from generation of the idea, capturing the idea, evaluating the idea, and prioritizing the need. Our chief guest, Mr. Rajan Datta, in his deliberation, highlighted the importance of excellence. In this contemporary era, key challenges for any organization is to deal with new trends and market response. He emphasized that top management and leadership plays a very crucial role in nurturing the culture of innovation for sustainable development. Our guest of honor, Mr. Mohan Kamar, enlightened the audience and spoke about holistic education. He emphasized holistic education means balancing both the sides of the mind, that is, right side and the left side, which depicts EQ and IQ. So, in sustainable innovation, it is the combination of both EQ and IQ. He gave the example of plastic in a very innovative manner. He said that we should not consider plastic as a challenge. Instead, we should consider plastic as a great innovation, because to deal with the end use of the plastic, it requires sustainable innovation approach. The inaugural session concluded with the words of thanks proposed by Honorable Secretary Shri Vaishnav Vidyapeeth Trust, Shri Kamal Narayanji Buradia. The guest speaker of the plenary session was Mr. Dinesh Subedar, Mr. Amit Roy, and Dr. Parul Parmar. Mr. Subedar shared that the biggest challenge in the sustainable development is to change the mindset of the people. Also, it is very difficult to create intrinsic motivation amongst people, especially after pandemic. He also suggested that there are 5 dimensions of innovation management, and they are knowledge, services, people, brainstorming, and media. He concluded the session by highlighting a very important concept, that is psychological safety measure, emotional awareness, and virtual audit. Dr. Amit Roy talked about creative destruction and sustainability. He further shared that innovation was directly related to media. He discussed 4 P's and 1 S of innovation, which stands for product, process, position, paradigmatic, and social innovation. These are the 4 P's and 1 S of innovation. He further opined that media is the 4th pillar in democracy and talked about the significance of media as a catalyst in sustainable development goals. He further shared the challenges in meeting sustainability goal and suggested various strategies which will be really helpful for the policymakers and leaders. Dr. Parul Parmar, she shared about organizational growth, customer base, and social growth. She also emphasized on environmental and profitability in innovation. She discussed that innovation techniques must be beneficial to the individual as well as to the organization. She further shared about research and financial aspect or investment required in the innovation. She further mentioned the challenges seed company faced in seed protection and other technologies. There were 34 papers presented by researchers and various academicians. There were 3 concurrent sessions in the technical session 1. In the first concurrent session of finance and IT, 10 papers were presented. The session was chaired by Dr. Samvek Patel, faculty, Narsi Munji, Mumbai, and the session co-chair was Dr. Rishi Dubey, Professor, SVSM, Indore. The reporter of the session was Dr. Swati Ojha Sharma. In the second concurrent session, that is in HR, 12 papers were presented. The session was chaired by Dr. Anil Mehta, Professor, Vanasthali University. Session was co-chaired by Dr. T.K. Mandal, Professor, SVSN. The reporter of the session was Dr. Aditi Veda. In the third concurrent session, there were 12 papers presented in the stream of marketing. The session was chaired by Dr. Rajiv Shukla, Professor, IGNOU, Delhi. The session was co-chaired by Dr. Vishal Khasgiwala, Director, Atmi University, Rajkot. The reporter for the session was Dr. Manish Joshi. Observation made by session chairs and session co-chairs in the technical session were many recent studies need to be done, more sample size should be taken. There were more conceptual papers, so we need more empirical studies, although they appreciated the efforts made by the participants and recommended various improvements in that. Last but not the least, I would like to narrate the takeaway from the one-day National Management Conference, Navprabandhan-2021-22. The products and the services. These are the summary which we have compiled from the various guests. The products and the services should be designed or innovated in such a manner that they synchronize the triple bottom line. People, which represents the social aspect, planet, that represents the environmental aspect, and profit, that represents the economic aspect. The triple bottom line doesn't inherently value social and environmental impact at the expense of financial profitability. Instead, many firms have reaped financial benefits by committing to the sustainable business practices. We all know that the waves of scientific and technological advancements are driving the episodes of creative destruction. It is like a double-edged sword, which on the one hand encourages innovation, but on the other hand results in toxic contamination, depleted forest, fisheries, eroded soil, loss of biodiversity, global climate change, etc. So biggest challenge in sustainable development is to change the mindset of the people and create intrinsic motivation. Policymakers, managers, leaders must rethink the social and environmental impact of their technologies, products, and processes on sustainability. Last but not the least, again, a strategy needs to be formulated which integrates both the goals of innovation and sustainable development, which is the need of the hour. So, thank you for being there with us, and thank you for considering how you can support sustainable development for current and future generation. So, your decision matters. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Organizing this event has given us an opportunity to nourish our minds, to share such experiences, and at the same time, we know that there is always a scope to do a better. Therefore, we would like to call some of the delegates to know more about how we can move further in this journey of excellence. Now, I invite Tapas Upadhyay for his valuable feedback. Mr. Tapas.
Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am. So indeed, it was a great experience for me to attend this whole conference. And I must thank Dr. Rishu Roy for her persistent efforts. It was indeed a very good learning session for all of us who attended it. So thank you so much. And I would also like to thank Reverend Upinder Dhar sir, Dr. Santosh ma'am for the insightful session. It was indeed a great session. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Radhika is there? Radhika.
Yes, ma'am, I'm there. Thank you. So the conference was a great experience for me. I had a fantastic time at this conference. Attending the conference has also given me the opportunity to meet a diverse group of researchers. I came away from the conference with a slew of new ideas, how to further and with the, I came slew of new ideas about how to further my professional developmental skills. And all kind of subjects were covered in the presentation, which covered a wide range. I had a lot of fun delivering my presentation. The conference was extremely beneficial and stimulating for me as well. As a result of the speaker, I learned a great deal of knowledge, and I'm extremely grateful to the publication for providing me with this platform to showcase my work and abilities. So, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Radhika. May I now invite Dr. Naseeb for his feedback?
Yeah, again, good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Naseeb Singh. It was a great pleasure to be part of such an activity. And my experience of attending the conference was great, as you all have executed the conference in a very smooth and planned manner. And the kind of plenary sessions and the research papers were presented, I feel the objective of the conference is fulfilled. And I congratulate the entire team, and especially Dr. Rishu Roy. She was the one who kept us aware about the entire process of conference, which was going continuously. So thank you again so much.
Thank you everyone for your valuable feedback. We have the tradition of releasing the conference brochure 2023 for the next year, so that the scholars, academicians and researchers know well in advance about the theme and the date of conference and start working on it. May I now request our chief guest to kindly release the brochure of Management Conference 2023. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I feel honored and privileged to introduce today's chief guest, Dr. Rajesh Kothari. Dr. Kothari is a self-driven, career-oriented academician having 39 years of experience in teaching, consultancy, and research field, along with corporate experience. He has a leadership ability to spearhead organization and to create synergy in an institution for overall growth and development. His area of expertise includes strategic finance, investment, and capacity building. He has supervised 35 PhD scholars in diverse fields like corporate finance, investment management and corporate governance, and foreign direct investment. Currently, he is guiding research to 3 scholars. Dr. Kothari has authored 6 books in the area of finance, management accounting, capital market, and financial services, published by Macmillan, Sage India, and Business World. Currently working on 7th book to be published by Sage India. Dr. Kothari is a chief academic consultant for the book titled Financial Planning, published by Sage Group. He has authored 25 research papers and more than 60 articles in a reputed journal. He is also appointed as an advisor to IFCI, the Lal Street Journal of leading regional newspaper Nafa Nuksan. He had also worked as a consultant and advisor for IFCI, Lupin Human Welfare Research Foundation, UTI ICM, Institute of Labour Development, Rajasthan Patrika, and many more. He had also worked as a president ICFI University. Currently, he is working as an honorary advisor of Taxila Business School, Jaipur. Now, I invite Dr. Kothari sir for his address. Sir, please.
Thank you. At the outset, warm greeting to my Reverend Professor Dhar, and of course, ever affectionate Mrs. Santosh Dhar. I miss both of them in Jaipur. I can't come to Indore, and they can't come to Jaipur. So thanks that through technology, we're able to connect it one. I do uphold them in very high esteem. I simply got a call from Mrs. Dhar that
Sir, please unmute yourself.
Choice, except that you have to be there and I'm here. A few words is spoken about me, about what I've done in terms of publication, research, etc., etc. But I think it's a thing of past. And every moment that has gone by is indeed memorable one. But our journey of life never stops while looking back to past. It always lives in, lie in what comes next. I've been listening to the conference report and I'm amused to see a kind of hard work that you put in and the speakers that you mobilize. Nowadays, finding out good speakers is really very, very difficult one. And holding the audience is even more difficult. Thanks to the boom and explosions in information available around us, we do not have any charm to listen to anyone. But I'm sure the kind of speaker that you've chosen and I've gone through the report suggest that you have picked up rarest of rare. And I think I stand nowhere in front of the lecture speaker that has adorned this conference one. But then I have to go by the order, oblique the instructions, oblique what I can say, not to miss but to carry out by Mr. Santosh. I think I have to say a few words about it because nothing much is left to say. You have covered almost all the aspect one. You have chosen the topic of management innovations, opportunity and challenges for sustainable development one. As usual, this is always evergreen topic. When I was student, when I was in the initial of my career, probably innovation, challenges, opportunities, and of course, sustainable development. These were the key words used to sound to our mind. That shows that the need of innovation is forever. Whatever we innovate today is not suffice to take on future. The future itself is very, very uncertain. And we as a scholar, we as academicians try to capture future today so that our lives turns out to be better, hassle-free, and of course, much more meaningful. We don't wish to struggle with the nitty-gritty details, but we wish to be empowered with every innovation spark. Now, why we need to manage innovation? If we do not manage innovations, resources that we spend on creating the innovation will go haywire. Issue is there are three things that we have to understand for sustainable development one. Probably my apprehension is more than 90% of innovations that we do during the course of research do not find its right place in commercial world. Why? Because they are not connected with common man. So I like to drive my point while requesting, suggesting, observing to have a sustainable development through innovation, then that has to connect the common man, the man in the street. The success of, I repeat, the success of telecom in the country is not because of 4G or 5G. The success of telecom in the country is that they could provide the data package in the smallest amount of money, maybe 10 rupees, maybe 15 rupees, so that the mass at large is connected one. If the cost of this prepaid data is high, probably we don't make people to be part of this kind of innovations one. So first and foremost observation is to remain sustainable development over development without ill affecting is called sustainable development one. For example, we have seen the need, the desire, design, the kind of innovation that we intend to bring out. I remember once there was a system of carrying the water bottle, which we'll call it the badla, and when you used to travel by train, I think outside train windows, these were to be tied up with the rope and the water get cooled. Gone the days, then we got it this plastic, this is the thermoware bottle. Gone the days, we carry plastic bottle. Gone the days, we get the we get the carry bottle, as the case may be. All right. So my observation is, as we keep on improvising the simplicity and comfort in the life, at the same time, we cannot get away from ill effect of those kind of innovation. For example, innovations called mobile or telecommunication or wireless communication has distinct advantage. And thanks to technology, that I'm able to pay my respect to Dr. Santosh Dhar being seen in the screen, is a technology. But we are worried about what? The e-waste, right? And this e-waste is more dangerous than anything else. We are still worried about the plastic waste. Now this e-waste is equally worried about. Clear? We are worried about the pollution, the environment, because of pollutions of vehicles. Now we are moving towards electric vehicles, right? But then the issue is, once the battery become useless after having served given hours, what will do with those battery? Again, is going to create the problem of pollution one. So my submission is, for sustainable development, innovation should not have the side effects. Clear? Otherwise, advantage on one account and disadvantage on other account will take away the concept of innovation for sustainable development one. Pandemic, for example. The pandemic has made us to innovate several devices to stay fit in adverse conditions one. The biggest innovation that we could sustain during this COVID is, every one of us is keen to discover the opportunities in crisis. Clear? I always believe and advocate that every crisis is an opportunity. So we had COVID, which we didn't want, and I'm happy to share, from pandemic, we are moving to endemic. Soon the fear of COVID will wash away, but then this COVID has made us to have innovations in terms of those which turns out to be life-saving. For example, we were not a good producer of masks, but I think we do now. We didn't have anything called this PPE kit. Now today we are the, I think, largest one in the world. Clear? Probably so is the sanitizers. I can't rule out. The spurious one is a part of the game only. Whenever there is a demand, if there is no supply, the gap is to fill by, sometimes genuine, sometimes ingenuine. But then, yes, is an innovation to meet the requirement. Clear? Now, the speed of innovation depends on the speed of necessity, need, or luxury. Right? For example, we used to have the AC, right? And nowadays, the AC that we got, that we have invariably is said to be inverter AC. Now, that inverter AC is not necessity, but it's a luxury. Clear? Having AC may be a necessity, but having an inverter AC is not necessary. Clear? But then, as stipulations keep on working, regulations becoming strict and stringent one, in days to come, what will happen? This inverter AC will be the benchmark. For example, in automobile, we used to have BS1 standard. Now we got a BS2 standards. That means we keep on improvising, we keep on innovating as the need arises one. So we as management professors, academicians, our ability lies not only in innovating for sustainable development, but then in identifying what is to be required. That means capturing the future trait. All right. Let's take a simple example. Every company which comes on the platform of ESG, and this is the latest buzzword in our corporate sector, and probably they are the good fund manager. They simply say we invest only in those companies which are compatible with ESG, economic, social, and of course governance issue, as the case may be. Now, the point that I intend to raise over here is the innovation for system development. The first requirement is how often, how confident are we able to read the writing on the wall? Clear? And that is going to set the ball rolling for what next, be it product, be it service. For example, let's talk about the food delivery platform. Clear? They've realized that they got a good network, and this same network is now being used to get delivered essential at your doorstep, maybe for a small or paltry amount. They are not worried about the big amount to be charged from you. They are worried about volumes to be generated. One, right? So this is called innovations. We all are working professionals. COVID has made us to work from home, and we were not allowed to go outside of the home and buy things from the open market. But for example, the Swiggy, Insta, or Zomato are going to provide us essentials at our doorsteps. One, clear? Now, these are need-based innovation. But yes, for sustainable development, one, probably the one area where we are all are focusing, and especially during this COVID time, is nothing but need of good mental health to take on pandemic like COVID and the Omicron and Delta, this etc. etc. Clear? In the second way, many of us have lost the near and dear just because they couldn't withstand the challenges, the stress, the tensions created by this one. All right. So this sustainable development comes the need how well we intend to be. Clear? On the latter side, I'll suggest I'm of the view to remain in search of something better, in search of what next. We have to have definitely a fertile mind, and of course keep asking, keep thinking. Unfortunately, most of us have stopped thinking. Probably for last 10 years, our investment in our thought process have become almost negligible or minimum one. And what we do now, what we see, what we hear, thanks to explosions in social media, mass media, we tend to believe. We tend to believe that is who should work hard, what people are bringing out, maybe rotten, maybe genuine, that we are not going to debate here. We are going to believe it. All right. So to sustain for sustainable development, one, the innovation should strike at three. Number one, they read, understand, capture the writing on the wall. All right. For example, be it Jaipur, be it Indore, or be it Noida or Gurugram as the case may be. Why I'm taking the name of this? Because they are fast emerging cities, including Bangalore. Bangalore could be A-list, for example. Pune, yes. All right. Secunderabad, for example. They are at par. Now, understand what is the sustainable development over there. Clear? Most of them who work in Bangalore or Gurugram or Noida, for example, they are migratory. Means they don't belong to that place, or the place is not their origin. All right. They come there from different part of the country. Therefore, what people are going to do, they are going to innovate those working residential unit from where they can operate. All right. So there is concept of the studio apartment, a boutique apartment. Clear? That means we are trying to capture the need. For example, the family size is now getting shrunk. All right. Earlier there used to be 2 plus 2, 4. And now today 2 plus 1 is 3, and tomorrow is going to be 2 plus 2 only. 2 plus 0 is going to be this one only. Why? Because this is a change in the society. One. The speed, the direction of innovation will be changed, will be guided, will be decided by what we can say the change in our social order. Let's take simple example. He who thought that the jeans could be comfortable wear, but probably most of us do not remember to produce 1 meter of jeans, how many kiloliter of water that we waste in processing this. Now what people say, but then we save a lot of water because it is not washed for months together. So for a sustainable development, we have to strike balance between these two ends. Let's take the jeans only. One side there is wastage of water in its production. On the other side, saving of the water as we carry it for months together without washing it up. Therefore, remember those researchers and see good innovation, great innovations is never done unless we get involved with the local people. The success of COVID vaccination is not because it happened like this only. It got tested on what we can say on frontline coronavirus one. And they volunteered themselves for this vaccinated one. They risked their life for the betterment of humanity one. So for innovating the challenges, and there are three kind of challenges. One, challenges is number one, I refuse to accept the change. Right? For example, person of my generation are not comfortable using what I can say laptop or communicating through this 5.5-inch called mobile. We refuse, we show our reluctance to use online banking, internet banking, and we are afraid if I use mobile for transferring the funds, probably it may go here and there only. So age is one factor, but more important is the mindset not to accept the change, as we do not want to come out of our comfort zone. So as long as we draw so-called happiness, as long as we draw so-called the pseudo pleasure while being in our cocoon, probably no amount of innovation can change us. All right. So to be successful, an innovator has to make us to believe in real term that a new product, a new process, or new service will bring about qualitative change in our life. Clear? Unfortunately, those are diabetic. Look at one earlier they used.
So please unmute yourself.
But now there is a system, all right, in which you just get attached to it, and for 15 days you don't require to get the fresh dose of your insulin one. All right. So I always believe the change for good for humanity is going to be everlasting one. So one challenge is we are happy in our cocoon unless you make us to believe that my cocoon is not fitting to me, is not fitting with the changing requirement. This first part. Second is most of innovations are laboratory oriented one, but when they come to the real time market situation, they often fail to deliver what are they expected to. I remember one classic example of this airtight container one. And the concept was, I think I can give you the reference. If you remember 10 years back or even slightly more, there used to be a small fire extinguisher called siege fire. And probably the Indica vehicles, the would always carry the siege fire adjoining to the seat next to the driver only. All right. Now that company brought in this vacuumized container. Clear. The product says that you buy vegetable for 6 days and then the result will remain fresh. Product was good, concept was good, clear, but it failed miserably. Because that point of time, 10 years back or maybe 20 years back, we were not in so hurry as we are now. The complexity of life have increased manifold for last 2 decades, and that was not there. Clear? And the complexity is because of we all intend to be financially independent. We intend to gather as much as financial wealth, and therefore we are putting time into working, into doing this, etc. But that point of time, a good product failed because it was before its time. Clear? So second challenge is the timing. Right? The online education providers, be it Extramark or Byju's, could capture, or Unacademy could capture the crisis because of pandemic, and they turn out to be unicorn, and more important is they turn out to be megacorn nowadays because they could capture the crisis into their favorite business preposition one. But I always believe for a sustainable development, no amount of physical assets, no amount of physical comfort can provide you lifelong development one. Therefore, I'm sure most of organizations have adopted the corporate corporate well-being program. Now that well-being program is what we make our fellow colleagues to remain not careless but carefree about stress, about problem arising out of long hours of working. Clear? So result is, in good organization, they provide you flexi working hours. They say you work for 36 hours, for example, in a week, whether you do 3 days continuous, whether you do 2 hours this, or as the case may, that's flexi working hours. We are more concerned by the output. All right. Then remember, even today, newspaper simply says, today it simply says that if you do not create a good atmosphere, a motivation atmosphere, a cheerful atmosphere at your workplace, probably your productivity will be less. So challenge is, are we able to create ecosystem wherein I can give in to my feeling, especially when we all turn out to be emotionless creature nowadays. Clear? Yeah, we intend to be professional without heart, but with more of mind. Am I right? So, do we think that we have the system? And of course, the challenges is humanity, which we have to learn very fast, that the value of humanity is missing nowadays. So challenge is not to have the better iPhone. Challenge is, opportunity is not to have the wireless connection. Opportunity is not this. Opportunity is, can I remain as a human being happy even if I am surrounded by number of gadgets, or still I'm happy where I have no gadgets with me. Therefore, the focus of this innovation should be a transition, a transformations from human being to being human. The transformation is required from human being to being human. Probably we have gone away, far away from empathy, sympathy, all right? And therefore, result is, of course, known to all of us. And the result is we are suffering from loneliness. We are suffering from what I can say, the disorder in thought process. So I believe it's not only the economic innovation. Innovation and happiness is indeed a crucial for sustainable development. One, getting metallic road is no indication of sustainable development. One, but then yes, connecting all those remote area to the highway are indeed a sustainable development. One, let us not keep so centric that all gains to a few handful, and gains become problematic if it is confined only to few hands only. Finally, I'll simply say, in case you want to management of innovation, challenge opportunities, probably this is never ending subject. And every day we start the day with something new, something better, and people are still saying, what next? Clear? And when it comes to the human journey, what next is more crucial. We keep on innovating the ways and means to remain relevant. One, right? And I'm still of the belief and of the faith that the financial wealth, the physical wealth, after some time loses its significance. One, but the wealth of being happy, being satisfied, and the wealth of understanding the reality is more important than having the false notions of look, I am the best. No, I think this, for this time you're given me 10 minutes time, but I just took some more time with you. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Once again, I'm beholden to Professor Dhar, Madam Santosh Dhar, for this opportunity. I wish to meet them whenever I happen to be in Indore. Thank you. And this university is very affectionate to me, because I think I have been there last year as well. Probably last year I didn't do well, so they give me one more opportunity, and I wish I shouldn't do well this time also, so that I can get the next opportunity next year in 2023. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for your words of wisdom and guiding us. We are all carried away by your words. May I now request Dr. Santosh Dhar, Conference Convener and Dean FDSR, to propose words of thanks. Ma'am, please.
On behalf of Organizing Committee of Navprabandhan, I extend earnest gratitude to our chief guest, Dr. Rajesh Kothari, for sparing his valuable time and be with us on this occasion. It was a delight to listen to him, as it was insightful, marked with precision. Our thanks to chief guest of the inaugural session, Rajan Datta, Managing Director, Estrops Consulting Mumbai, and guest of honor Mohan Kamath, Director, Skillmart Mumbai, for being kind enough to accept our invitation and grace the occasion. We are thankful to Honorable Chancellor Shri Purushottam Das Ji Pasari and Honorable Vice Chancellor Dr. Upinder Dar for their consistent support, encouragement, and guidance. Our thanks are for Shri Kamal Narayan Ji Buradia for being with us on this occasion. We are also grateful to the speakers of the plenary session, Mr. Dinesh Subedar, Dr. Amit Roy, and Dr. Parul Parmar. Our gratitude to the chairpersons and co-chairpersons, Dr. Anil Mehta, Dr. Khasgiwal, Dr. Rajiv Shukla, Dr. T.K. Mandal, Dr. Rishi Dubey, and Dr. Samvit Patel, who readily accepted our request and contributed to this academic endeavor. We are also thankful to all HOIs of the Constituent Institutes for being with us on this occasion. Our appreciation for all the delegates from various institutes of higher learning of the country for being part of this conference and adding significantly to this initiative of ours towards academic excellence. We appreciate the efforts of all committee members, staff from administration who have facilitated us in organizing this event. On my personal behalf, I would like to put my appreciation on record for the conference coordinator, Dr. Rishu Roy. Her relentless effort right from promotion to persuasion of the delegates is quite apparent from the participation we had. We are thankful to Dr. Rajawat and his team for extending technical assistance during the event. Success of any event calls for persistent determination of many people. Some efforts are visible while some may not be that apparent. This virtual conference was possible because of the wholehearted effort of many such people. It's not possible to name each and every person. We thank all those people who have helped us directly or indirectly in making this event a success. Once again, I thank you all.
Thank you so much, ma'am. With this, we come to the end of valedictory session of Navprabandhan. May I now request everyone to rise for national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे भारत माता की जय।
Thank you everyone for sparing your valuable time with us. Thank you so much.